Hi, beautiful day in Miami. Al from Hampton Ice here. I will be reviewing the Aspire conference that took place today, January 13th in Fort Lauderdale. What is Aspire? Aspire is a business and motivation conference for entrepreneurs that takes place across major U.S. cities for the past 37 consecutive months. Marketed as a full-day rocket fuel for entrepreneurs. Big speakers, big energy, big networking. How did I find out about this? Well, I couldn't open up Instagram over the past 3 weeks without an Aspire ad showing up in my stories, in my scroll. The ads were loud and obnoxious. I'm actually curious to know how much their ad spend was, because they worked and piqued my interest, although screamed grift. So what did I do? I went on YouTube. I looked for reviews. Now, there were 4 reviews on YouTube about Aspire. You could tell right away that the 4 reviews were done by people who have never attended a conference before in their life. They had ridiculous expectations, like they were going to see Prince New Year's Eve 1999. There was one review from a woman that called it my brutally honest review of Aspire Tour. 45 minutes. Well, I'm gonna give you my brutally honest review of that review. It was tone deaf and obnoxiously monotone. I will never get those 45 minutes back. So I go to the website, see how much it is. $50. $50. I thought it was gonna be $500. What? Then scroll a little bit more. Jordan Belfort is speaking. Jordan Belfort? I drive 45 minutes to see Jordan Belfort take a piss. $50 to see Jordan Belfort speak for 20 minutes? You'll learn more in those 20 minutes than $250,000 on a college education. And this is coming from a guy who's absorbed every word Jordan Belfort has said since he got out of the can. So the value was there. And I figured I'd go there, get a few targeted connections, and see the greatest salesman of all time. Now the reason for the review is, this is my first long form video. All of my Hampton Ice content has been on Instagram in short form. I also possess the unique perspective, having worked in finance for 20 years before launching an ice factory, where I attended many investor conferences and am familiar with different platforms, both good and bad. So I get there. The conference is from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Now they give you a QR code and a soft agenda, time slots with guest speaker, panel, lunchtime, break, what have you. Not a big deal. You don't want people just showing up for the celebrity speakers, so it's completely understandable. Now you figure that they would backload all of the celebrity speakers. Now Kevin O'Leary, fresh off the red eye from the Golden Globes on Sunday night, showed up in the morning. So you never know. Demographic, ages 8 to 80, from every walk of life. So I get there 7 a.m. on the dot, right? MC comes out. Now this guy, he calls himself the ME, not the Master of Ceremonies, the Master of Energy. And he came out like he shot out of a cannon. Ridiculous energy. A+ for that one. So the first couple speakers, you have to understand people. It's a crescendo. It's a long day. The not so familiar speakers, they front loaded. Few great anecdotal stories. The first speaker had a great montage of her first Facebook Live videos, which was entertaining. The second speaker had a great anecdotal story about pulling out the phone. Gonzo type social content, where even if you're a plumber, like say if the sink was broke in the back, how many of you can fix it? I think 6 people raised their hand. He said, pull the camera out. The rest of the crowd would love to see it. And he's right. I love seeing gonzo content like that. I want to know how to fix a sink. 10 a.m. rolls around. Full house. Standing room only. Networking going on in the lobby. Probably a couple thousand people. Founders come out. Andrew Cordell, Eddie Wilson. Hand up, don't know them. But they were entertaining, they were captivating, and they held your attention. Great ads. Now, their topics of conversation might not pertain to you. Real estate investing, not particularly a focus of mine. Compounding tax-free 401k, valuable information, I know about it. those are the times where you go and network. One of the things I could say about the non-celebrity speakers is they really encouraged interaction between guests. They would pause for 5 minutes and say, introduce yourself to the person next to you, shake their hand, tell them what you do. And people would do it, and it was like, you met somebody new right there, and then another handshake and another handshake. That's what it's really all about, and that's how I met a few people too. So one thing that I really enjoyed was the panel that they had in the afternoon. Rather than bringing in notoriety, they brought in testimonials, clients that had been there in the past that have blown up. And one particular young lady spoke passionately about what her objectives were in attending the event last year, her staffing needs, and through divine intervention met a staff agent while she was just sitting there at a table kind of looking interested. And that really resonated with me. Celebrity speakers. Now, there's a reason they're celebrity speakers. They're the best that ever was. Kevin O'Leary came in, straight from the after hours Golden Globes party on a red eye and told the story about how everybody around him told him not to take the acting gig because it would destroy his career, and he ended up putting up A+ performance. He looks like the real deal. Not for nothing. Mr. Wonderful, great job. Jordan Belfort, the greatest that ever was. Tonality, persuasion, just tens across the board. Gary V, what can you say about Gary V? He's telling you everything you need to know about the future whenever, and he's just blowing people up as he does it. Raw, authentic, guy's a legend. So those were the great parts about the conference. Let me talk a little bit about potential improvements that can be made. So like I said, in my finance days, attended a bunch of investor conferences. The best investor conference was Context. Not sure if it's called Context now, but how it would work is there was 3 type of clients. There were vendors, and in that category, it could be IT, it could be social media, it could be AI. They would wear red lanyards. There were the hedge funds looking to raise money for investors. They would wear blue lanyards. And then there would be the actual investors looking to invest in interesting funds and strategies. They would wear green lanyards. And they would create a portal online that investors can look at the hedge funds that they were most interested in and want to meet with. And they would set up the conference in speed dating fashion where the hedge funds would pitch the investors, whether they be retail investors, endowments, fund of funds, and meet with them for a half-hour pitch. And it was so productive, where, of course, I had my Jordan Belfort script and I would motor through them. We went from 25 million to 700 million inside of 5 years, and that's the most effective way, both in terms of value for entrepreneurs, and you're gonna make a lot more money charging the third-party vendors higher fees, charging the entrepreneurs higher fees, and obviously not charging the investors to be there to find investments for themselves. So I think that is an avenue that you should go on. I'm happy to talk to you about it and give you some insight on my experiences with those events. Hit me up. One reoccurring theme throughout the day was the acknowledgement of God and how believing in God propelled speakers to success. Religion was so voodoo to talk about for so many years. And I've gone through my own personal trajectory of growing up Catholic, being atheist, being agnostic, and now coming full circle around to God. And to really hear that in a public sphere was incredibly resonating. There's so much evil in the world, both from the right and the left, and it's garbage. Gary V, of course, alluded to it. But, the lack of humanity out there and the presence of evil is so prevalent that to believe in a higher power like a God, no matter what your religion is incredibly inspiring. God is good. God is great. And keep doing it. God is trending. I'd be remiss not to mention Hampton Ice. It's a company I founded in the Hamptons 3 years ago. We've made our footprint. I've since expanded to Miami. 99% of the ice that you see out there is frozen tap water. Hampton Ice is filtered. Reverse osmosis, UV light, alkaline enhanced, full cubes in a blue bag. I have a logo. I have a brand. I need some help with funneling my social media across platforms, target markets. If you know anybody, if you're in hospitality, marinas, wellness, caterers, hit me up. My goal is to become the first nationally recognized ice brand. You can name me 15 waters, 15 ice creams, 15 granolas. You can't name me an ice. That's all from me. I've said enough. Hope you see the video. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope I was enthusiastic, sharp as a tack, and a person of authority. Jordan, my friend, let me say this. Give me one shot, and the only regret you'll have is that you didn't meet me 5 years ago. Sound fair enough? Hampton Ice, what a life!